A robber baron, the richest man in the United States, and a capitalist, Cornelius Commodore Vanderbilt was a monumental influence to the formation of what we now know as the United States of America. Born on May 27, 1794, in Staten Island, New York, to a poor family, this man already had his head programmed to be in business. Succeeding the death of one of his 8 siblings, Cornelius, at age 11, dropped out of school to work for his father. At this early age, it sparked an interest of the sea, which then grew into him studying all aspects of shipping and the shipping business. He once said, "If I had learned education, I would not have had time to learn anything else." At the age of 16, he purchased his first sailboat, using $100 he'd earned from landscaping his father's land, which he then used to carry farm produce and passengers to and from Staten Island and New York. This was just the beginning of this grand story we come to know as shipping transportation. His business grew rapidly, and with the help of the low prices he offered, he would undercut all of his competitors. This amounted in more profits, which he then used to buy more ships, resulting in a large passenger ferry operation. Vanderbilt, seeing the profitability of his new business, expands and starts carrying supplies to fortifications in the New York harbor and the parallel waters surrounding the area. Also, during the War of 1812, he was rewarded a military contract to sail supplies to forts along the Hudson River. But this young Vanderbilt wasn't the only one in the business. Because of the rising of travel by these ships, he couldn't keep up with the cheap fares and reliability his customers demanded. In 1817, Vanderbilt sold his sailboats and got a job as steamboat operator for Thomas Gibbons, which sailed passengers from New Jersey to Manhattan. In the mid-1830s, Vanderbilt started seeing the opportunity in these steamships. He decided to go into the business himself. Once again, his cutthroat rates and brand new, reliable vessels were a magnet to these customers. Now, the competitors in the area were not happy that their customers were flocking to this new company, so they got together and paid Vanderbilt to leave. "You have undertaken to cheat me. I won't sue you, for the law is too slow. I will ruin you." Cornelius Vanderbilt. But he didn't just disappear. He moved his roots from Long Island Sound to Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston, which turned out to be a better choice. Not to mention, in the mid-1840s, he operated a fleet of more than 100 steamships and started moving toward Central America. Continuing after that, around 1855, he oversaw a transatlantic steamship business, one of the first of its kind. I have been insane on the subject of money-making all of my life. In the years around 1857 to 1862, Vanderbilt started drifting toward the railroad industry. In the year of 1857, he became a director of the New York and Harlem Railroad Company. Only 6 years later, he became president of this company, which controlled the line between New York and Chatham Four Corners. He knew that he couldn't stop there. On and on he went, becoming president of the Hudson River Railway in 1865 and the New York Central in 1868. He then combined the two into the New York Central and Hudson River Railroad. But this was only under the presidency of these companies. They weren't his, and that's what he wanted. And when he started to see the opportunity arising from this rail travel, he decided to have a go at it himself. He seized the chance quickly and started purchasing railroads in New York. He continued his smart pattern and lured in customers with the once again cheap fares and extremely hospitable service. After a few calculations, it was noted that after only 5 years, he had made $25 million. Not feeling satisfied with the small scale he controlled, he extended to the west and soon acquired the Lakeshore Michigan Southern Railway, the Michigan Southern Railroad, the Canada Southern Railway, and the Michigan Central Railroad. But this was only a small portion of all of the railroads he controlled together. But Cornelius wasn't alone. He had the help of one of his sons, William Henry Vanderbilt. Cornelius and his first wife, Sophia Johnson, together had 13 children. In the order of birth, Phoebe Jane Vanderbilt Cross, 1814 to 1878, Ethelinda Vanderbilt Allen, 1817 to 1889, Eliza Vanderbilt Osgood, 1819 to 1890, William Henry Vanderbilt, 1821 to 1885, Emily Elmira Vanderbilt Thorne, 1823 to 1896, Sophia Johnson Vanderbilt Torrance, 1825 to 1912, Maria Louisa Vanderbilt Clark Niven, 1827 to 1896, Frances Lavinia Vanderbilt, 1828 to 1868, Cornelius Jeremiah Vanderbilt, 1830 to 1882, Mary Alicia Vanderbilt LeBeau Berger, 1834 to 1902, Catherine Juliette Vanderbilt Barker Lafitte, 1836 to 1881, and finally, George Washington Vanderbilt, 1839 to 1864. Now, you may have noticed that I've only listed 12. This is because one of the boys died in early childhood and no records were kept of him. William was the only son that helped Cornelius. Therefore, he disowned all of his other sons in his will. William continued to be an important asset in the profitability of the Vanderbilt Empire. He was just as business endowed as his father, and just as ruthless as well. This is why Cornelius believed that William was the only one capable of maintaining the company. Because of this, Vanderbilt willed 95 of his estimated $100 million fortune to William. He also gave $500,000 to each of his 8 daughters, $1 million to Vanderbilt University, and the promised $50,000 to the Church of Strangers in New York City. After his first wife, Sophia Johnson's passing on August 17, 1868, he decided to go have a trip to Canada, and on August 21, 1869, he married distant cousin Miss Frank Armstrong Crawford, who was 43 years his younger. This marriage did not go without controversy, but with all of the power that Vanderbilt held, it was soon left alone. What do I care about law? Ain't I got the power? Cornelius Vanderbilt. She was a small but helpful part in his life. In Vanderbilt's will, he left $500,000, their modest New York house, and 2,000 shares of common stock in New York Central Railroad. Calm is part of my being a rebel. Takes pains to tell it. Frank Crawford Vanderbilt wrote to her mother soon after her 1869 marriage to the Commodore. Cornelius Vanderbilt passed away on January 4, 1877, at the age of 82. He sculpted what we now know as the United States through his transportation, shipping, and travel businesses. Now people could travel to North America without having to pay outrageous fares, and others could ship their products around the U.S. to new audiences and customers in a way that they can make the profits they need to create a successful business. So next time you think about getting that new toothbrush or that new iPad, just think of everything that it took to get to the point we're at now.